Hi, I've had a few questions about the group project, so I thought I would make a video and explain a couple of the key aspects of the assignment. Okay, and during this, you're going to see me looking down because I'm going to be looking at the screen. Okay, all right, so first thing I'm going to do is go to chapter 9. Chapter 10 is I recommend reading that as well and going through chapter 10 because it's going to help you with the small group assignment. So this assignment, the case study, can take you right up to the end of our time together. Okay? So I'm happy if it's finished by say August 4th, Thursday, August 4th. I'll give some more time for that to make sure everyone has time to interact with each other. All right, so let me click on chapter 9 and you'll see that we have the experience before. So I want, before everyone starts the assignment, you're going to complete a little survey about how you feel about your own interactions in past group assignments. Okay? Chapter 9 overview, which is typical. I have that in each one. Discussion questions to help you prep for the final exam. A discussion board thinking about examining the groups that you are in that maybe you haven't thought about before. Quiz. Group assignments, we're going to go right here. Okay, so here is your overview and your instructions, and I have that here. Let me pop it up. Okay, let's see. Alrighty, so this is why I have the key ideas working with any group. And of course, you might think back to your past assignments in high school and even in college when you're asked to work in a group or to produce something as a group. And the instructors do that because we all get the idea that all of these heads being involved can really be illuminating and make for a great learning experience. Also, we know that when you look at top 10 skills that employers seek, one of them is being able to work in teams, right? But here's the thing, we're never actually taught about what makes an effective group. What kind of dynamic, what kind of communication interaction is important. So that's what we're looking at in chapters 9 and 10. A lot of it has to do with maintaining relationships, which is why chapters 7 and 8 are important, and also resolving conflict. And remember, hopefully from chapter 7 and 8, that conflict isn't always fighting. Conflict is just disagreement. And how do you resolve that disagreement? How do you keep your eye focused on the task and moving forward? Okay, so phase 1. And you notice the first thing I have here is the group does not need to reach consensus. Okay, so you're going to read a case study. It is one page. It is a one-page case study. All right. But after, I want students to keep referring back to that case study. So it's important you know it like the back of your hand when it comes time for you to get online discussing with your group mates. Okay. You're going to evaluate which person, which student is most responsible. There is no tie, right? Sometimes Donald and Anthony are both equally responsible. No. Okay, so in a case study, you don't have to worry about necessarily being wrong, but you need to support your answer. Okay, so again, let me be clear. It's not necessarily a wrong answer in who you pick, but if you do not support your choice by using evidence from the case, that's what makes it a poor answer or a poor response. Okay, so make sure you use the information from the case study, cite it. Okay, all right. And you can debate and disagree, and you don't have to come to consensus. That is absolutely okay. However, let's say you have a group member who really puts forth a persuasive argument, maybe frames some of the behavior from a group member, say, Anthony frames Anthony's behavior in a way you hadn't thought about it, and it persuades you to change your mind and rank Anthony as number 1 responsible. That's fine. Okay, so it's not about being bullheaded, it's about making the best decisions and best choices possible. So I want you to feel free to change your responses. Okay, so phase 2, you need to then look at the dysfunctional roles. So let me pop a couple of these up for you first. All right, so here is the case study. It's the handout. I just made a PDF of the handout. I am going to ask you not to use Professor Rogers' She's not actually a member of the group. Do I think she bears some responsibility? Yeah, I do. But for the purpose of this assignment, she is not a group member. So don't rank Professor Rogers. Only these three, Sylvie, Donald, and Anthony. It's important, again, to cite your case study. Okay? All right, back to the assignment here. Okay, so then once you've made your decision, your group is going to assign the dysfunctional roles. Okay, again, you don't have to necessarily reach a consensus, but you might really disagree with each other. That's fine. I appreciate and value respectful disagreement. Let me pop it up. Where do you find that? There is a link for roles in communication. All right, so we have task roles. You can see a lot of these were roles that are in your textbook. The reason I ask you to use this and not your textbook is this has more roles. There are more things to choose from. Okay, so you can see these task roles. Task meaning things that help get the job done, whatever the goal is of the group. These are roles that help people get them done. Okay, and then we have what's called the maintenance roles or social roles. Depends on which edition of a textbook you pick up. And these are positive things that help the group work in a cohesive manner. All right. By the way, while I have you, I'd like to talk about this one right here, the follower. Sometimes in United States culture, there's the idea of following is not a good idea. Following somehow means weakness. Not necessarily. Not everyone is going to master every single type of role, right? And I always use myself as an example. If I am on a committee where I realize it's a committee where I don't know a lot of things about the committee, maybe it's not my area of expertise, I happily, gladly take a follower role. I will ask questions. I will say, tell you what, delegate an assignment to me and I will get that assignment done. But if it's something that I feel that there are other people who are more knowledgeable than me, have had more experience than I have had, I'll go ahead and do it. Okay? I'll go ahead and follow. All right, dysfunctional roles. The blocker, right? The aggressor, the deserter, dominator, recognition seeker. There are different types of recognition seeker. Recognition seeker sometimes is the one who's also sometimes called the martyr. They're the ones who are going, I have so much to do. I have so much. This is just so hard. Everything's like really kind of like a victim kind of voice. A recognition seeker will also kind of show off a little bit, right? Kind of say this is how much I've accomplished, but also just somehow seems to divert attention back onto themselves. Joker is someone who clowns around to the point where it becomes disruptive. Jokes, things like that can really lighten the tension in the room. It can make people actually want to come to work, right? If it's a fun place to be and people get along well. Let me see. I think those are the ones I want to make sure that I explain. All right, so those are your choices. I'm going to X out of that. Okay, so you must assign the roles. Again, it's not enough to write Anthony is a dominator. Why? Explain his behavior. Okay. All right, phase 3. Now the group must reach consensus. You guys are going to work together on approaches for moderating this group conflict. Okay, so just to recap what you've done up to this point, you've individually assigned roles and identified who's most responsible. You've used evidence from the case, so now everyone's really thoroughly understands the behavior of these people. Also, you're going to need to go back and think about Chapter 8, conflict, and what was the seed of the conflict. And I'll give you a hint. I want you to think about their perceived incompatible goals. Okay, and I'm going to emphasize the word perceived incompatible goals. If you think about it, Sylvie says things like, I really want to get, I get them mixed up who said what, but Sylvie says, I want to get an A. And Anthony says things like, I want to win. Are those incompatible? No. So what could you do as a moderator, okay, as a moderator, stepping in to say, what's going on with this group? How could you help maybe bring this group closer together, help them realize their goals aren't that far apart? Now, I'll tell you, the challenge will be Donald. And by the way, I'll just say, in my gazillion years of teaching group, I've seen Donalds, Anthony's, and Sylvie's every semester. It happens. So Donald the deserter is tough to reach. And there are a lot of different approaches to take with Donald. Do you become assertive with Donald and say, hey, show up or get out? That is absolutely an approach. Other approaches might be reaching out to Donald. Who would you send to Donald? Would you send Anthony or would you send Sylvie? Or would you have Anthony and Sylvie talk to Donald at the same time? What would be that approach? Do we know why Donald is a deserter? I don't think so. Unless you can pull it out of the case study for me, we don't know why Donald deserts. So think about the times in your life when you have retreated from something. What are the reasons you retreat? What are the reasons that might make you think, I'm not going to go near that, or I'm not going to touch that? So we need to get out of our own heads and how we might feel about Donald and kind of get into his head and think about why might he retreat? And that might help your approach with Donald. Okay, so now let me hit the, how you're going to be graded is right there. Okay. I know I skipped right through that, and I know you guys are going, that's the most important part to me. How am I going to be graded? Okay. So, okay, I know you just had a funny edit. Hold on a second. I need to go back to assignments. Okay. And scroll down to unit. I know yours looks a tiny bit different than mine. Okay, so enroll in a group. Sorry, I'm getting there. Okay, so enroll in a group. So if I click right here, enroll in group, I can check which one do I want to sign up in. Okay, so right now it tells me I'm not enrolled in these. So I'm going to ask that I looked at the groups today. So assignment 1, the group 1, it's full. Okay, right now there are only 2 people, and I'll show you because I'm going to go over here to groups. And if you look, group 2 only has 2 people. So group 1 has plenty, no more than 5 if you read those directions, okay? So group 2, if you get inspired, you are excited, you are ready, jump into group 2, okay? All right, and then we have a third empty group here. Please, if you are the next couple of people to sign in, don't try to start your own group. Okay, because you'll just like be hanging there. Okay, so let's fill up group 2 first. I gotta say, it inevitably happens. Okay, all right, so let's go in one of these groups. Okay, oh, we have Chad and Ileani. Okay, you guys would love to join them. Fabulous I know everyone to get to see their speeches. Okay, so students are asking, where do I post things? I leave it up to you guys, okay? So if we go into group 2 discussion board, this is just like any other discussion. You click your way in, create thread. They haven't started a board yet, which I understand because there are only 2 of them in there right now. Create thread, and you go. So this might be, I would say the discussion board would probably be the best place to post your individual responses. Okay, so remember the first part is read and rank and support your rankings of who's most responsible. Part 2, assign roles. So you could do that all in one document if you want, all in one post. And then the third part, which is as a group, make a decision. You might choose, I know I just repeated myself there, you might choose to use the blog, which is also under your group part, right? Professor Rogers trial assignment 2, you could go to group blog, okay? And the nice thing about the group blog is everyone's responses just show up underneath each other. There's no clicking, okay? So the blog might be a really good place. Just make sure you indicate, here is our final entry with our discussion. Okay, so if you have not signed up, sign up. Those of you who have, go ahead and get rolling. Have fun and send me questions.